I've been getting asked a lot how you make gluten-free tortillas, and really the best thing to do if you can't have gluten is to just make corn tortillas. So here's how you do it.
So I start with the corn tortilla dough. I'm using masa mix. It's basically just ground dried maize, 2 cups of it in a bowl, and I am adding some salt to it. And I'm going to hydrate this with 2 cups of warm water. This is actually too much water for the dough, but I like to start out with extra water and then add gradually a little bit of masa towards the end to bring it up to the desired consistency. So I'm just pouring in the hot water there and mixing it with a spoon. It will look very soupy at the start. Don't worry, when this masa hydrates, it'll kind of sneak up on you. See, look how it's already hydrating like really quickly. It's transitioning from soup to more like a batter, and then very quickly from there it transitions into a very wet dough. So I've added just there about a 1/2 cup of masa additionally. You want to add between an additional 1/2 cup to whole cup of masa, and I'm mixing it with my hands at this point because it's easier. So you want it to clump like this while at the same time not really sticking on your hands and leaving a residue. That's how you'll know that it's about the right consistency, keeping in mind that the dough will continue to hydrate a little bit more as it sits before you actually form it into tortillas. So I like them just a little teeny tiny bit on the wet side, because dry dough is really difficult to work with, but if you have a wet dough, you can always just add a little tiny bit more masa in at the end. So I'm just incorporating this. You can mix it a bit with your hands like this. I think it helps everything coheed a little bit. Coheed, that's a word. I think it helps everything stick together better. And I'm just pounding it into a nice mound, and I'm gonna cover it and set it aside for a 1/2 hour. Now for the homemade corn tortillas, you're gonna wanna invest in one of these if you love tacos and you want to be making homemade corn tortillas a lot. This is a tortilla press. These are pieces of thick plastic. They used to be a freezer bag, and I just cut up the freezer bag. So, you don't have to buy anything expensive, just find an old freezer bag and cut it up. And this is the dough that I have rested. If you wanna be fancy, you can use an ice cream scoop and portion out evenly so you have identical tortillas, but I don't really care. So you just get a mound of it, put it on one of the sheets of plastic, and then you cover it with another sheet of plastic. You don't want the tortilla press to directly go onto it. So the plastic will protect it and prevent it from sticking to the tortilla press. Use the power of levers to press down that dough, and wow, you have a tortilla. So this is kind of delicate. You peel off the top piece of plastic, and then what I do with this little piece of tortilla here, you flip it over onto your free hand like that, and then very gently peel back that second piece of plastic. Now you have this exposed raw tortilla, and you plop it incorrectly into a cast iron skillet. It's okay, we'll fix that little dimple there. Okay, all fixed. So this is a cast iron skillet on medium-high heat. And you want to cook it on each side about 2 minutes or so, flipping a few times. I'm going to show you another one pressed, and it does work a little better if you press it with your hand with the plastic before you use the actual tortilla press. I forgot to do that the first time, so I'm showing it again correctly. Voila, another tortilla. So you peel off that top piece of plastic. Incidentally, if your dough is too wet, that's not going to work very well. So yeah, it's just something you kind of learn over time. And again, flip it into your free hand and very slowly, carefully, gently peel off that piece of plastic. Sometimes the plastic buckles a little like it did just there, and it can rip your tortilla. If that happens, just mound up your tortilla dough again and press it again. It's not the end of the world. Flip that tortilla, and sometimes if you press it, it will pop. It'll like expand like a pillow, but mine didn't, because I'm a failure. This is the most important part of tortilla cooking. So you put it on a plate lined with a towel or an old cut-up shirt, as I am right now, and with each subsequent tortilla, you stack it and you keep covering it. So what that towel does is it not only insulates your tortillas and keeps them warm until you're ready to eat them, because that's one of the benefits of homemade corn tortillas, is they're nice and warm and fresh, but what that does is it really helps hydrate your tortillas. If you don't leave the towel on them like this, they're gonna dry out and get really cracky, and when you try to fold them and put stuff in them, they're just gonna fall apart. So this is the most important part of the process.